I mean, obviously, I brought it up at the beginning of the show. We're talking about suicide and suicide prevention and awareness and all that
Mhm.
sort of stuff. And you do have quite a uh, deep and trying story. Um, so as long as you're comfortable, then by all means, I say that we just kind of jump right into it, and
Sure.
I'll let you just kind of take it away from there, and yeah.
I don't know how long this podcast goes, but I think I can go a little bit deeper into like the makings of it because whenever I did the red carpet, I had to condense everything into 10 minutes, but I also had to ensure that, and I'll probably leave out some details also. So just because I wanted to avoid like any copycats or or to even bother someone. And I knew there was also kids there, so I had to like really condense all of that into one. So it seemed like it was an
Mhm.
acute moment, but there were a lot of moments throughout my life, looking back on my childhood and how I was raised. Not saying like I had terrible parents, but every parent, every single parent makes mistakes. And all it takes is one because like our brains don't fully develop but before we're like 25 to 29. And I give that range because females start earlier, like their front and back lobes connect at a younger age, and men kind of lag a little bit. Um, no surprise there.
Yeah,
uh,
for all the dumb
I
stuff
I
we
just hear
do,
my
yeah.
wife being like, I don't think his is ever, but but yeah, yeah. So like, I'll start at least whenever I left my home. So I graduated high school, and then like I was a pretty anxious child. I had a lot of energy, and that was my ADHD, and with that comes like just a hyper focus on things. I and I was 19, I think, and I moved to Nashville. I moved to Nashville, and
I
I
didn't mean
said I
to
was such
interrupt
an
you, but
anxious person.
you have some brothers. Are you the middle, or are you the
Mhm.
youngest,
Oh
or
yes, yeah, I'm the middle child. Yep. So me and
okay,
me and my older brother are closer in age, and then Jake is 4 years apart from me, 6 years apart
okay,
from Josh. But I think me and Jake uh, bonded whenever Josh graduated and left. Like that's when me and Jake kind of really started getting closer.
okay.
Uh, I mean, we've always, I think all three of us have always innately been pretty close to each other. I mean, at one point we lived in this house actually that I bought from Josh. We all three lived in this house at
Yeah,
one point together. So I mean, and we got along pretty good actually.
that's
I
good.
think I'm very blessed with my brothers that I have, and we're all
Yeah.
three pretty different. I think me and Jake are closer in personality than me and Josh, but yeah, so I moved and I had a roommate for a while, and he was a professional chef, so I got like the most amazing meals every day, and I didn't have to shop as much. But I only had him for a little bit, and then I bought my own apartment on Music Row, and I lived in this really small old like apartment that hadn't been updated since 1955, I think. So I had lead paint walls. I had like the old lead fridge that you would open
Oh
up,
wow.
and like this massive sink, and then I had a like what are those? The lion tubs, the little claw tubs, and then they like
Oh yeah,
put
yeah, yeah.
a
I've seen those. Yeah,
shower. They attached
yeah.
a shower head that had like duct tape at the top. Um, yeah, yeah, it was,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. I was living the life, man. Living as a poor musician and aspiring artist. Um, and I was very reclusive at that point, and I was left to my own the I was left alone to sit with myself a lot of the times. I had friends by the time I was a junior in college, I think, and I would start going out to sporting events and doing stuff a little bit more, but still more times than not, I was really by myself, and there were moments of like just sitting in my kitchen and just crying, like just being sad and not really knowing why, and so much anxiety because I was starting to get in the music business. I was in live sound at that point, and I was working for some really big artists. I
Mhm.
was working for like Black Keys, Katy Perry, One Direction at one point, and just doing all of these jobs that were bringing good money, and and I don't know. Uh, I was being overworked a lot too, I think, at that point, and being in that environment was very bad for me because everybody's just the absolute worst. I learned kind of quickly that you don't tell them anything personal because they'll use it against you if they need
Really?
to either get on top or to keep you working. To be like,
Really?
oh, like I don't have an example for myself, so like I'll make one up. Like, let's say if I
Yeah.
shared like a story about how my dad's setters did something like this and it made me look weak, and I ever since then I've just felt like this weak person. If you share that with them, they're gonna be like, oh, your dad was right, you are a weak person unless you like continue to work. Because I remember whenever I was working for Katy Perry, I worked 72 hours straight. So I would work all through the night, setting up stages and getting the AMV set up, and then I would go home, eat like a quick breakfast, then try to take like a 2 hour nap if I could, and then go to class, which would last until the afternoon. I'd go to classes, and then after that, then I'd have to get changed and to my uniform, and then go back and do it again. And I remember I was driving back after uh, class one time, and I blacked out. I actually ended up becoming conscious in somebody's yard, and the guy was like kind of holding me, and he was like, "Hey, like I got the ambulance coming." He's like, he's like, "You just need to lay here." He's like, "Don't get up." And I just once I got to the emergency room, my old roommate who I told you about picked me up once I got out, which was not till the next day. And all the doctor said, he's like, "Hey man, like your blood pressure got really low." He's like, "And you just need rest." So then after that, like my job kind of gave me a week off, and like I just went to class and came home. And so that environment was kind of what I did. And I remember I was in 3 foot of snow in Cleveland, and they call like the studio that I was working for called me and said, "Hey, do you want to like renew your contract?" And I said, "Absolutely no. Like I'm going home. I'm done. I've been doing this for 2 years. It's not for me. It's not for me." And for me to do that as a kid made me feel like such a failure because like when you're a teenager and you're getting out of high school, and the job you choose or the career you choose, you feel like I have to make it. Like I have to make it.
Yeah.
Like there was that
Yeah.
unrelenting pressure of I have to make it.
Yeah.
So
It's a
going
lot of
home,
pressure for an 18-year-old to decide what it is they wanna do for the rest of their life, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
and with me being an anxious person, and just having all that like unnecessary guilt and stuff weighing on me as well. And I didn't know I was carrying it. Like I had no idea. Like I had no idea. Looking back now, I see it, but I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Like I was holding it physically in my body, and I was holding it mentally. And that bugged me for a long time. Like I never made it. And I always tried. Once I got a little bit better, I rested for a few months, and I got better. I tried going back, and it just didn't work. Like I would get so close, and all I had to do was just accept the job, but I didn't for some reason, and I never knew why. I was like, gosh, like why didn't I take it? But innately, I think my like in the back of my mind, I was like, don't do this. Like, don't do this. You know what it's gonna be like. Don't do it.
Mhm.
And so I tried being a personal trainer, and I did good. It's just there wasn't enough money. I went back to my hometown, and just not a lot of people, and I knew, and that kind of fit well, like being able to help others fit well. And um, Dr. Schaefer, who's a holistic vet, she does like acupuncture, chiropractic, ozone therapy, all kinds of alternative along with your traditional like giving antibiotics. And she
Mhm.
was like an integrative vet. she heard about me and my love for animals, and she remembered one time my younger brother and I were mowing, and I ran over a nest of rabbits, and Jake saw the last rabbit. It was a baby rabbit that had its ear chopped off or something. And Jake's like, "You got to take him to the vet." I was like, "It's gonna die, man. Like, we got to just accept that I accidentally killed a huge nest of rabbits, and I feel gut-wrenchingly awful. Like, you're making me feel worse." And so he convinced me, and she remembered that because that's who we took him to. And she fixed it, and we had the rabbit for 3 days, and then it had a stroke or something and died.
Mm.
And so when she heard I came back to town, she literally just interviewed me over the phone, asked me 3 questions. I answered them. We hung up, and then I worked for her for 9 years. And
Wow.
within that 9 year period, I'd say that year seven, no, no, year 5 or 6 is whenever I had the event that I talked about. So at that point,
Okay.
I had such a negative view of myself, my life experiences, my genetic makeup, and just my idea of myself in the world was very poor at the time. And I didn't have a lot of money because they don't pay veterinary assistants very well. So I was barely scraping by every day.
How were you,
Um,
doing spiritually?
at that point, not very well. Not very well. I was going
Mm,
to church. I was just going to church just because I think I was going out more out of fear than anything, which is not the best reason to have a spiritual relationship in any religion or any spirituality or spiritual practice. It's not healthy when you're doing it out
mhm.
of fear. But so it wasn't the best, I would say. That's a good question. I never really gave much thought about it. But and I remember I had flown to Chicago and I went to some sort of forum thing and I flew back and I was a wreck at this point. Like my car had a flat tire in the airport and I was like, how am I going to get this? So I literally, there was a gas station just up the road. So I drove with a flat tire, hoping that I didn't bend the rims of my car just to get free
Mhm.
air because it had free air. And so I aired up my tire and then I was able to get it home and patch it up. But there was just that and I was an absolute like just hysterical mess. And for about 2 or 3 months, something shifted and I think I was about 26 at the time, maybe 25, 26. So it's right there where your brain starts connecting. And once your frontal and back lobe connect, all of the repressed or unprocessed memories come flooding in. That's where you look back on your life and you're like, God, how did I think I was invincible? Why did I do that? Or if I would have got
Mm.
caught doing that, man, that would have been so embarrassing or that's so inappropriate. Why did I do that?
So is
All
that
of those
kinda like,
things. Yeah,
kinda like
your
the
maturity and
quarter life crisis or whatever they call it?
Yeah, so that's typically around the time. So I had
Okay.
this storm where I had this anxiety, and then on top of it, like all of that was starting to shift over, and all of these things were just flooding, further solidifying that I'm just this terrible person, and that I'm like this mental nutter. Like I literally like if there's a madhouse, I have a membership, and I still feel that way.